Good evening, baseball fans, and welcome to episode 47 of season 2 of Sports Talk with Rags. And today is a very special episode here to promote high school baseball in the area. Have some public school coaches, have some private school coaches here. And here, starting here next to me, we got Gary Spedden here from Grassfield. Then Joey Seal from NSA, and then right under me in the second row is Roland Wright from Western Branch, and then next to him is Matt Intner from Cox, then Ken Kellum from Great Bridge, and Pat Nichols there from Greenbrier Christian. So tonight's episode here is just a forum where each coach can share what their program, how long they've been coaching here in the area, and just some representatives here from area schools. So, hey, Gary, starting off with you, if you introduce yourself and share what school you're the head coach and how long you've been coaching high school baseball here in the area.
All right, Rags, thanks. Start with the old guy. I understand. That's good. I'm at Grassfield High School. This is my 9th year, believe it or not, at Grassfield. Prior to that, I was 20 years at Ocean Lakes. And before that, I was 2 years at Green Run. And before that, I was 5 years at Lafayette High School in Williamsburg. So I like to tell people, I just started telling people this, that I'm kind of a 3, 4, 5 guy. A lot of guys stay at one school a long time. I've been in 3 different districts, and we've had some success winning district championships in 4 different schools in 3 different districts for 5 decades. I started in the 80s at Lafayette winning and have made it through the 90s, Lafayette and Green Run, 2000s at Ocean Lakes, 2010s at Ocean Lakes and Grassfield, and 2020 here at Grassfield. So I've been blessed to be around a lot of outstanding players, had good assistants, and, a lot of support along the way. So I've seen a lot of high school baseball throughout those 5 decades. And, the game changes a little bit, but a lot of it stays the same too. And young folks like some of these guys help keep you young and challenged to keep working hard to try to catch up to some of these guys in front of you. So I'm excited to be here, and thanks for the opportunity. And I'm excited to be at Grassfield.
Well, thanks, Gary. And next we got Joey Seal. Just introduce yourself there, Joey, and how long you've been coaching.
Appreciate you for having us, Rags. This is a great opportunity for all of us. But I think I'm going to log off and log back in so I don't have to follow Gary. My pedigree is nothing like his. So that's a tough act to follow there. But this is my 6th year at Nansemond Suffolk Academy, Division II independent school. We compete in the TCIS, which spans from Walsingham, or actually I guess Stewart and Richmond, all the way to Cape Henry at the beach, and everything in between. Like I said, 6th year at NSA. Before that, I was fortunate enough to run up and down the road at the collegiate level for a few years. Overall, this is my 14th year coaching, and have just, like Gary said, just been extremely blessed with a bunch of great ball players, a bunch of phenomenal parents, support staff, to allow me to sneak back in one more year each time at the end of the year. You always kind of cross your fingers and hope that wasn't the last one. You did well enough to be asked to come back, but the coaching profession has been really all I've ever known in my short life, and have just been really fortunate with the people that I've had to learn under, and try to at least do some justice to their name and their reputation along the way.
All right. Well, thanks for your time this evening. Next, we'll go right the coach that's under you, Ken. Share with the audience where you're coaching at and a little bit about yourself.
At Great Bridge High School, obviously in Chesapeake. This will be my 6th year at the varsity level, and have been back since 2011. Coach Lee's last year, and was lucky and fortunate enough to have a year kind of with him and getting my feet wet in that manner, and have been there with did JV for a few years, and then had the chance to go up with Townsend for a couple of years. With the 7 years that he was there, maybe 8 years. Yeah, 7. And kind of coach beside him, learn from him, and another guy that's been around for a while, and kind of right place at the right time every step of the way, and fortunate to be, at Great Bridge where I graduated and played, and probably wouldn't be anywhere else other than Great Bridge.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for your time for coming on. And Matt, let's see, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and where you're coaching and your coaching experience.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, for having me on. Entering my 10th year at the high school level. I spent 1 year as a JV coach at Cox. I spent 3 years as the head coach at Salem High School, and I'm in my 6th year back at being the head coach at Cox. I'm a 2008 grad of our baseball program and our high school, so it's been a blessing, obviously, to come back and be able to give back to the program that gave me so much as a player. Like I said, I'm definitely flattered to be on here with the level of guys we have coaching in our area. So thanks for the opportunity. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys.
Sure, no problem. Appreciate your time. And next, to go with the guy that's under me. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself there, Roland.
Head coach at Western Branch. I just had to take my shoes off to count the years. I think it's 19, I believe, starting here. So I took over for Jim, who was here for a long time. In 05, I came on his staff in 04 when we won the first state title. Before then, I got the great opportunity, as Country mentioned a little bit, to work with both our mentors and Wyatt Lee, who gave a lot to the game of baseball in the Tidewood area. It kind of really changed it, to be honest with you, the platform of it. Before then, I actually started my first career as the JV softball coach at Western Branch when I was doing JV basketball. I think I did probably 4 years of JV baseball there, then got the opportunity to go work with Coach Lee, and then had the opportunity to come back over and take a great program that Jim had started and just kind of tried to continue the success that he started. And, as everyone said on here, it's really an honor to be on here with Spetty, Eddie, and Pat and Country and Joey, because, baseball coaching in this profession, there's a lot of good coaches out here. So we thank you for what you're doing with us, Rags. And, again, it's just a pleasure to be on here.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for your time, man. And, hey, down there on the middle of the third row, Pat, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your coaching experience.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having us on. It's an honor to be with these group of guys here. But I was a assistant coach at Greenbrier. Well, first of all, I was a 2002 graduate of Greenbrier Christian. When I stopped playing, I coached travel teams for a couple of years, and then called Gary Lavelle and asked if I could come coach with him. So I did that for 5 or 6 years. And then when he stepped down, I got the job and took over for him. And I guess this will be 8 years, something like that, since I got the head job at GCA. And I've been very blessed to coach with a lot of other good assistant coaches in that time. I was very blessed to coach under Gary Lavelle. I learned a lot from him. And I've been very honored to coach a lot of very talented players and a lot of really good kids. So.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for your time, and also got to give you a shout out because you were the one that gave me this idea here, so appreciate it. And
it's a pleasure to be a contributor to your podcast here, Mark.
Well, thanks there, Pat. So, well, hey, Joey. Here for the second round of of questions here. We'll start with you. Just tell the viewers here about Nansemond Suffolk, the baseball program, and what to expect here in the 23 season. And there with the TCIS, I mean, it's definitely competitive there with Stewart and Walsingham, and then the schools here in the 757 here in the conference.
Yeah, it's I don't know that I quite understood what I was jumping into at first when I came over to NSA. I played public school baseball when I came through, and other than at that time Greenbrier ruled this side and Hampton Christian ruled the peninsula, and really you didn't hear about any other independent schools other than those two. And so when I got here, I knew of the Benedictines and the St. Chris's and them in Richmond. But like our first year going through the TCIS was just like a gauntlet. It was just there's nothing that you can do with your out of conference schedule to really prepare you for those types of games, whether it be Cape Henry or Norfolk Christian was extremely competitive for. They had a really good run there. Greenbrier, Stewart is always going to have a really competitive team with Bruce Sechrist running the show. And then Walsingham, I think they've won like 6 million state championships in a row in Division III. So every game in conference play is you've got to be ready to go. So with that being said, you've got to kind of build from the mound just like you do at every other program, but you've got to have 2 or 3 guys that are healthy, rested, and ready to roll for every conference game because you're going to get stretched very, very thin. The last couple of years, we've been fortunate to have some really good ball players come through the program, and we're just kind of continuing that cycle. We are a little bit more top-heavy again this year in terms of upperclassmen. We've got a pretty strong, large junior and senior class led by junior Jackson Runyon, who's committed to West Virginia, and then we've got a handful of seniors that have really carried our program for a number of years. I look back at some of the guys that we have that are going to be seniors this year, and they've been contributing. Some of them, this will be their 5th year. We've had a couple that have played as 8th graders and come all the way through the program. So, a really veteran heavy staff, and just looking for them to step up. I think that we're going to go as far as our leaders will take us. I don't think there's any question about the talent. It's just whether, high school kids are going to be high school kids. I thought when I was coaching college baseball that 18 to 22-year-olds were unpredictable. My gosh, when you get 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, you have no idea what you're going to get from inning to inning or pitch to pitch. And so, to have some upperclassmen around them to just kind of settle everything down, and we've got some postseason experience scattered throughout the lineup and on the mound. We're really excited about where we're at as a program and where we're headed. Just kind of looking forward to see what we can do. We've got another challenging schedule. We play Hickory a couple of times, so we've got a few public schools games mixed in there that are certainly going to challenge us like we have in the past. And, just doing everything I can to get these boys ready for when we start TCIS and go to play Cape Henry and go to play Walsingham. And, there's just really not much that you can do to really prepare for those games other than just challenge them as much as possible. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yes. Yeah. And should be an exciting year there for NSA baseball. Ken, what's going on with Great Bridge here in this 23 season and the competitive Southeastern District, and what you guys are in Group 4?
Still in 4. Move to 5 next year.
Okay.
I could probably just say just whatever Joey said.
Right.
Just kind of roll with that. You know, we're like you said, we're pretty blessed to have an area that you really don't have to look far to find competition, and not only competition but top caliber competition. And you know, it won't be any different this year. And we're in a position in you know, the four that we don't have many fours around here, so we've got to play the fives and the sixes, and we've got to see, you know, the Grassfields, the Western Branches, the Hickories, and try to, you know, we'll play Pat and GCA this year, and just try to push the kids a little bit, man. Take them out of their comfort zone, throw them into the fire, and we've got a good group of seniors, pretty senior heavy, with the pitching staff. But then, you know, lineup wise, we're going to have some young kids mixed in, and they're going to have to, you know, whether they're ready or not, they're going to kind of have to hit the ground running. And going to have to definitely pick up some slack and fill some holes from last year, and, you know, see what they're capable of. And we got a good feel for it in the fall, just as everybody has, and being able to play a competitive fall schedule. But it's, you know, a little bit different when the spring comes, the lights get a little brighter, and looking forward to another year, man. It's always, you know, kind of a grind to get to the season, and then once you get to the season, excited, and then, you know, then the grind really starts, and got to push the kids and try to find ways to challenge them. And we've got a good group of kids that like to compete, you know, whether it's something small at practice, or whether it's a game situation and they've got a little pressure on them. It's a group that does enjoy competing, and I would be shocked if it wasn't the same at every other school that's here. It's a fun time of the year. I think everybody's kind of itching. You know, we've been in the gym for a couple weeks now and ready to get on the field, and, you know, kind of get on the grass and on the dirt, and not take ground balls in the gym, and not take cage swings, and get out there. But looking forward to it. Good group. And we do have a couple kids coming back that, you know, kind of led us last year with this, in addition to the seniors that we had. But it should be an exciting year by all means.
All right. Yeah. Well, look forward to following Great Bridge baseball. Matt, let's see what's going on here with Cox here in 2023 season. And I see that, you know, you and Pat's program is, you know, two of the schools that are going to be in that Commonwealth Classic here later on here at the beginning of April. But Matt, tell the audience about Cox's 23 season, and boy, that Group 5. I mean, in 5A and 5B, that's like your own state title just to get out of the region.
Yeah, no doubt. Just like what those guys said, I mean, we're excited about the talent and the experience that we have returning with this group. But ultimately, you know, for us, how we come together as a group is going to determine how far we can go, because it's more than just having a lot of dudes out there. Like, they got to come together. They got to learn to trust one another. So you kind of find that stuff out as you get closer to the season, and in the season, you start to see how guys react to failure and, you know, personal success and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see how those guys respond. The schedule, as you mentioned, is challenging. I mean, we're fortunate enough to have two really good scrimmages right off the bat, which usually tells us a lot, between Hanover and then rolling at Western Branch. So we get a pretty good reality check within the first couple of weeks of the season of seeing kind of our holes that we need to try to fix. And then the Commonwealth Classic is something we're excited about, but that is definitely a tall task for us, with a doubleheader on Saturday and then a place game on Monday. So I know the private school guys are used to playing, 5 games in a week, but I know for our public school guys, that's a little bit more of a challenge. So it'll be good for us. Hopefully it prepares us for where we want to be at the end of the season. But, you know, our district's hard. I mean, every game in the Beach District If you don't show up, you can get beat. And as you said, you know, Region A and B are very talented and competitive as well. So we're excited for the challenge, and we'll see what happens when we kind of hit the ground running in the spring.
All right. And hey, just to stay there in the middle row and on the heels there of the Commonwealth Classic with the other team that's in the Commonwealth Classic from our area. Pat, tell the audience about the 23 baseball season for the Gators.
Yeah, I mean, it's every team is different, and you know, I had 1 year, man. I was just thinking about it a second ago. Like, I was so incredibly optimistic about a season of 5 or 6 years ago, and then I ended up being, from a record wise, like the worst I've had since I've been here. And I've had teams that I was like, man, I don't know how good we're going to be, and then we turn out being really, really, really good. It all comes on exactly what Matt said, and I've become such a believer. It becomes about the way the kids gel, the way they mesh. Do they like being around each other? Do they want to come hang out at the field? You know, do you see – I live next door to my field, so I see kids out there all the time hanging out, you know, and when you have a group that likes to be together, they typically do well. I mean, anybody that's in this chat has talent, or you probably wouldn't be in this – high school roundtable talking about it. So we all have talent. It depends on the way they come together. So I think that my group is coming together pretty good. We obviously have some talent, but you know, I think that the way they play together and is the most important thing to determine whether your team will push over the edge and you know, win a conference tournament, win a state tournament, or compete for it, go deep in a state tournament. Anything can happen in any individual game, but you know, I think that I'm very optimistic that this group will have the talent and that they'll come together to be able to hopefully do something special.
All right. Well, thanks, and hey, look forward there to follow Cox and Gator baseball. Roland, what's going on with Western Branch here for the 2023 season?
I don't know. I like our kids. I can say that much. We're young. I had this group since they were 7U, so I'm kind of personally going down a road that I have never gone down, coaching your sons. That's kind of a different avenue to do. It's challenging every day. I like them. They work very hard. We do have, you know, some talent, as everybody on here has. They'll be challenged with their schedule. You know, as Matt said, our one scrimmage is with Matt, so we'll find out right quick where we are. Then we'll go to Billy's place up at Miller School. We'll go to Sean's place at Benedictine, and then we'll do our 3 down in Florida, obviously with North Broward Prep, and then finish up with Stoneman Douglas. And if we're still standing, then we can play the back end of our schedule. You know, our district with Gary in it and Saint over at Kellum in our region, and obviously Pete's been a thorn in our side for the last 3 years, and he's got Dickerson. So, you know, we've got a challenge ahead of us. You know, they're getting after it and getting better each day. And, you know, kind of what Pat and Matt have said, I think our kids like being around each other. You know, and I think that's the big hurdle for all of us. Anybody can coach talent, but talent doesn't always win. Your guys got to like to play for each other. And I think, you know, if you can get that and you got a chance to go a little bit here, you know, obviously Freedom South Ridge is backloaded again this year in the 6A. So, you know, we like where we are, but every day you got to play. We got Granby, too, to open up. So we open up with Granby Kellum. So we'll see if we're standing after Matt and get through Dooley at Granby, who's got everybody back, and Saint's going to be pretty good again this year at Kellum. We'll see what happens. But we're young. We've got our lefty Biernata's committed to VMI. And we've got, you know, PJ's Tone's back with us. So we've got everybody back. What really hurts us this year is, you know, we lost 3 good bats with Harrison at UVA and our catcher Tone that's at Old Dominion, and then Hunter Johnson's over at the Prentice School. So we've got to find a way to fill those 3 holes right there in our lineup. I think we can fill those up. We might stand a chance to be okay. But, you know, we've the Southeastern District, and then, you know, Matt and the Beach District, and then playing Pat in the fall helped us out a lot. So it'll be fun. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, hey, look forward to following the Bruins here this year. So, Gary, what's going on with Grassfield baseball here for 2023?
These guys have said most everything. It's going to be competitive. Bottom line, they're going to be wars. You're in the Southeast. You're going to play people who are going to compete for states. There's talent out there. I think you guys are dead on point. I hesitated to throw out the buzzword of culture, but that's what you guys have been talking about, and that's critical. When we're to the point where our guys get to come to practice, get to do drills, versus I got to, once they have that level of buy-in, then we have a chance to take the next step. Frankly, we've been pretty good over the last couple of years, but pretty good isn't good enough. And we've talked to our guys about that. We need to take the next step, and that's on them. And I need to get out of their way and let them play a little bit. And I think that's important too. So, we've got some talented kids. And I think they're coming together and they're responding to some challenges that we're throwing at them. And I'm excited to see where it turns out. As long as we can keep that we versus me, we've got a chance to be pretty good. We've got about 6 guys back who play a lot. I think 4 of them are college committed. Jacob Bunch, Coastal Carolina, Bradley Zayak to East Carolina, Jacob Henry to Lynchburg, Dylan McClellan to Eastern Mennonite. And, we've got some other guys moving up who we like a lot. So it's going to be interesting. I really think, and as somebody pointed out, it's once you get to the postseason, it's a one and done thing. And it's weird in baseball. You have a bad inning and all of a sudden it's over, and you can be scratching your head for a long time. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity. Our kids are working hard and it's going to be competitive as heck. And, hopefully we learn along the way and we stay together. And if we do that, we got a chance.
All right. Well, hey, look forward to following their Grassfield baseball here when let's see, I guess middle to the end of February, I think around President's Day is when you guys officially start practice, and then the beginning of March here with scrimmages, and then the regular season starts after that. But hey, Matt, just with you being a Cox alum, just share what it's like to be the head coach of where you were a student athlete, and then in 2021, leading the team to a state title.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's special, as I mentioned. I think it's even more special that I got to take over for the man that I was fortunate enough to play for, and Bill Conroy, which everybody on this call is familiar with, Coach, and the impact that he's had not only in our program. He was there for 15 or 16 years, but also just in baseball, in general in the area. Great coach, taught us how to compete, learned a lot of life lessons, learned a lot of lessons that I try to carry over now into my coaching. So I think that's a really important piece of it all, is, just being able to kind of continue his legacy in our program, build upon it. Fortunate enough to take over for him. 2021 was a special year. For that all to take place, you got to have really good players. You've got to have some matchups in your favor, and you've got to have the ball bounce your way. And then, as we said, at the end of the day, those guys on that last week of the season, they've got to go out there and do it. As a coach, there's not much that you're going to be able to do at that point to get them to probably play any better. It's going to kind of have to come within, and kudos to those guys for finding a way to get it done. But yeah, overall, just very grateful for the opportunity to give back to the program that gave me so much.
Right. Yeah. And hey, Pat, I mean, after you were done, playing professionally, you were able to play collegiate ball here in the area, and then to lead your program to a state title where once you played, when you were growing up. Just talk about how it is, winning that state title as a head coach where you went to school.
Well, I won one as a high school player in 2001. I graduated in '02, but I was a part of a state championship at GCA in '01 as a player. I was a part of two in 2015 and 2016. We had a really, really, really good group as an assistant under Lavelle. And then was fortunate to be a part of one as a head coach in 2021. I've been on that ride obviously 4 times now, and every time is different, but every time is very, very, very special, man. I have memories of each of those groups, to be honest with you, and they say that you never forget your first one. Well, I've never forgotten any of those 4 that I was a part of, and I hope these guys that are here are blessed to be a part of that. But it's not easy. It's not easy to do that, I guess, to be a part of it that many times. So I don't know. What was it like? It was pretty awesome. I vividly remember dogpiling at Shepherd Stadium. I remember where I was, and I always said I would turn and high five the coaches and hug them. No, man, I was in the middle of that dog pile, so I don't really know what to say, and I'd love to do it again sometime. So.
Yeah, and Ken, with you leading Great Bridges program, I mean, I remember watching you, as a player, and Great Bridge, you guys had some great teams, when you played at Great Bridge, but and I know that. Since you've been head coach, I know that you've made it to a state semifinal. So, just kind of share, what it's like here to lead the program that you pretty much grew up as a player in.
Yeah, I mean, being able to in 2003 go on that run, and that team was, it was a bunch of freaks. It was fun. Looking back, it's like, man, I wish I would have taken it in a little bit more. And then 2011, when Coach Lee, got his second state title, and that same thing, like, it wasn't maybe not the freaks that we had in 2003, but like Ittner said, like, that team was a team that is probably similar to what Roland's dealing with now with his sons and the kids he grew up, has kind of grown up with. It was a very strong core group of kids, and trying to get these kids to kind of be able to experience how awesome it is to be one of those last two teams standing, and to be the last team on the field celebrating is something that I'll never forget, as a player. And more than anything, want the kids to be able to experience that, and they don't get the opportunity to experience that without putting in the work, and without the dedication, without the early mornings, the late nights, and, kind of pushing themselves a little out of their comfort zone. So, it's a fun chase, much easier said than done. And, if we are grateful enough to be in a situation at some point this year, next year, or any year going forward, like, it's definitely an experience that, I hope I can give these kids to take in a little bit more, enjoy every step of the way, and kind of understand, the significance and the greatness of it.
Right. Yeah. Well, thanks. Hey, Joey, what, I know that you were an assistant, college coach, but, now with being a high school coach, I mean, do you still, let's see, the assistant college coach was where you played as a player. So just share the opportunities that you had as a assistant college coach where you played.
Yeah, that was I growing up was never really sure where my path was going to go. Probably like 99.9% of teenagers, and You know, I knew that I loved the game a lot. I loved a lot of the stuff that came with the game, all of the life lessons, all of the mental toughness that you had to develop. You know, after I finished playing at Norfolk State, I really didn't have any idea what I was going to do. Claudel called one day and asked if I wanted to come out to practice and just kind of talk to the pitchers a little bit. And, you know, I'm driving out there, and this is a group of kids that I just finished competing with, you know, and they've kind of turned the page to the next season. And, you know, I knew as soon as I had that conversation with that team that I was just, you know, I kind of had a moment of reflection where I thought back about all of the people that impacted me as a player, all the great coaches that I got to play for, and just saw that opportunity as a chance to hopefully do them proud, and just give back to them and give back to the game. You know, and it's a lot different going from being an assistant coach to a head coach. You know, at Norfolk State, I was very, very fortunate with the opportunity that I had, and that Claudel gave me probably way more responsibilities than I should have had. You know, but there were still moments where, you know, you're an assistant, and it's like, man, well, I might have done this if I was a head coach. Well, you know, when you get that hat and you are the head coach, you start to realize how important those decisions are. You know, not just when to bunt or when to hit and run or when to leave a guy in, but, you know, how you handle the day-to-day things, how you handle alumni and how you deal with parents and everything. You know, those are all things that you can kind of from the sideline say, I do this or do that. But when you're wearing the hat and you're wearing the shoes, it's a totally different story. The other major adjustment that I think that I had right off the bat was the motivation factor, understanding that not every high school baseball player wants to move on and play college baseball, and that's okay. You know, in college, you kind of have that to help motivate them. Hey, you know, you can't practice like this. What if there's a scout watching? You know, you say that to a kid in high school that has no desire to go play college baseball. You know, what if there's a college coach? Well, I don't care. You know, what if there is? I don't, you know. And so figuring out how to motivate every person outside of baseball, you know, just and accepting the fact that not everybody wants to play college baseball, and that's okay. You know, finding out what makes these kids tick, you know, how to intrinsically or extrinsically motivate them. And like everybody said in their introductions, just get everybody to play for each other. You know, I tell our guys every year, man, if you're playing for me, then you know it's the wrong thing. You got the wrong mindset. You need to be playing for that guy beside you, that guy out in center field, that guy on the bench or catching bullpens. Those are the ones that you guys need to come together and play for. And so, yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. I think I was there for 8 years. We won a couple division championships in the regular season and could never get over the Bethune-Cookman hump. I think Claudel and I had a running joke. I think together as a player and a coach with Claudel, we had like 11 second-place trophies, and 10 of them were behind Bethune-Cookman. So we used to always throw our used golf balls in there. And we always told our guys, like, we don't need any more golf ball holders, man. We want the real thing. And finally, Coach Shoemate was able to get it done a couple of years ago. And, man, you know, when I look back on all of the things that I've been fortunate to achieve in baseball, watching them celebrate, move on, and going down to Greenville to play in the East Carolina Regional, knowing what a lot of those players had been through, knowing what Claudel and I had been through growing that program, and then before us with Marty Miller, it was certainly a really special moment to watch Norfolk State finally be able to compete at that stage. So I certainly wouldn't be where I am right now, and would probably be about a third smarter. You know, I just have learned a lot, and that was mostly thanks to Claudel throwing way more on my plate than I probably deserved. But you know, we figured it all out together.
Yeah, well, hey, Gary, you know, I know that Garrett Stallings here is there in the Orioles organization, and you know, just share a little bit about him, and then let's see. I guess with starting out at Lafayette, and then coming to the beach there with Green Run, and starting Ocean Lakes. You've definitely seen a lot of 757, 804 baseball.
Yeah, starting with Stallings, great kid, outstanding young man, competitor, super teammate, bust his tail. I was fortunate enough to see him pitch with my dad this summer. He came in, he had a month from Hades, and he bounced back and had 10 strikeouts that night and kind of turned the corner and got it back. He's an awesome young man. He's in the Orioles organization, went to Tennessee, was a 5th rounder. We've been blessed since I've been here. Hunter Purdue was a 10th rounder, and Justice Bigby a 19th rounder. So we've had a little run of guys here. The championships eluded us, but baseball does that sometimes. Somebody talk about Joey talking about those second place trophies. I go back to back in Williamsburg. I started out, and to be honest with you, to be frank, I have no business being here. My playing career was like at the Chamberlain-Burnham Athletic Association. So sometimes I was an all-star at that level. But, I fell into a coaching job. I got some opportunities. I started out at James Blair Middle School, Go Spiders. Yeah. I kind of did something kind of like what Roland's talking about. So I got to coach those guys as 8th graders, 7th and 8th graders, and ended up getting a head job at Lafayette. Had no business getting it, but in a small district back then. I was in the building and had coached at the middle school, and they took a flyer on me. And as those kids turned around and became seniors, my first year we went 10-8. My next year we went 15-2. 10-8 tied the school record. And the next year we lose in the state final. Kind of a heartbreaker. But, those kids had relationships, and I still have relationships with those guys. One of the coolest things in my coaching career was during COVID, one of those young men got married. He called me up and says, "Coach, you got to be there. The boys are all going to be there. They want you to be there. Will you be there and see me get married?" And sure enough, I went. It was awesome. And, we're talking about going on a cruise together with these guys from 1990. Those relationships, are a lifetime. And I've been blessed to deal with that. So being young and stupid then, not really that, but I had my daughter who's 33 now, and I wasn't seeing enough of her. I was commuting to Williamsburg. So then I took a job at Green Run. We go 4-13. And then we go 21-3, and I got 8 starters back, including arms. So I leave and go to Ocean Lakes because they're opening a new school, and leave those guys behind. Chris Elmore, Dave Abbott, and that crew, they win the state. So that's the closest I've come to winning the state. And I walked away from those guys, and they won it, and I'm proud as heck of them for that. But, I thought, hey, I'll just go somewhere else. In 3 years, we'll be winning again. Now I know better. But I went on to Ocean Lakes. We lost in the state final there as well. So I've been the bridesmaid a couple of times myself. And I realized, you've got to be good. The ball, as Matt said, the ball's got to bounce your way. You got to get a break every so often. And your kids just have to be hot at the right time. And baseball is a humbling game. There was a year here at Grassfield where I felt like we had the best team in the state. And we lost a 1-0 game that I feel like we'll win 99 times out of 100. But that night we don't win it. So my career has been, blessed by having a lot of players who mean a lot to me and see them grow through the years, and to be able to compete and to challenge, and just the relationships with those guys, and seeing the joy when they win, and, crying with them on the field when they lose is something that there's just not many guys get to experience it. And I've been blessed to do it, like I said, for 35 years or so at this point. So, sometimes I look back and say, I wish I knew now what I knew, then what I know now, but, I wouldn't trade any of it. I've been lucky. I've been blessed, and we're still going to chase that state. And I like the group of guys I got now. And it's just an honor to be coaching in this area where there's so many great coaches, and I've seen so many great players and teams.
Yeah. Well, and hey, Roland, it looks like they're at Western Branch here. Got a little relationship here with the Pittsburgh Pirates here. You got Jimmy made his major league debut with the Pirates there in '99, and it looks like 2015 alum Colin Selby here on the 40-man of the Pirates here this spring.
Yeah, Selb's done a nice job. I'm very proud of him. Out of that 14 state team, he would have probably been the one of the 5 that got drafted I'd say would never made it. But he did a tremendous job at Randolph-Macon. And he's really, really worked very hard to get to where he is. And, if he stays healthy going into spring training, I actually talked to him last night that, he's got a pretty good shot. But that group, as Pat's saying, and I'll reiterate what Pat was saying, we've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to be a part of 3 and win 2. But, you never forget that feeling. And all 3 of them were different. Being an assistant with Stanko when we won it in 04 at War Memorial. And then 14, if we don't win it in 14, I'm probably the worst coach because, that team was just loaded. That was a really good team, and you got to see a part of that. And then 17, we shouldn't have won it. We got hot at the right time. The kids really, we lost to Coach Conroy in the regional final. And I challenged them, give me 5 days of good work and let's get back at them and see what happens. And, we were fortunate, to beat them in 17, which, how it happened, I still don't know to this day because Coach had a very good team there. And, I remember this day at the plate, and I've told Coach this several times that, that game didn't define his career because he had a heck of a career at Cox. And, that group, as you're saying, with Selby, 5 of them got drafted with, Zach went to Old Dominion, never played shortstop in his life for us, had to play right field because we had the McPherson kid who got drafted and then Fisher behind the plate who got drafted. But, all 3 or 4 of those I saw, could happen. And Selb is the last man standing, and he's excited about going into spring training. He doesn't know, what the future holds for him there. But, he's got a good chance. He's learned guys that faced him with Gary and guys that seen him in 12-6 curveball was nasty. Now he's added a slider. So he's got a 4-pitch makeup now. He's down in Charlotte right now at working out at Tread. And I think he told me in a month or so he's got to go down there. But, we're excited about it. He has touched base with Jimmy. So, he's in a good organization. So I'm excited about the future for him.
Yeah, well, hey, guys, I know that we ran a little bit over, Pat, with the idea, appreciate Grassfield, Nansemond, Suffolk, Great Bridge, Cox, Western Branch, and Greenbrier Christian, all great programs. Appreciate you guys coming on. So,
our pleasure, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for having us, dude.
Appreciate you, Rags.
Yep, yeah. And looking forward to following all y'all's programs. So everybody have a great season, and thanks again.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Take care. Right. Good luck, guys.
Thank you, Rags. Have a good one, bud.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.